Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the previous class, we discussed about verification of share capital. Basically, there was some problem in the video, so video was stopped, so it's okay. Verification of different balance sheet item. That is our next topic, and this is basically the last topic of our course contents. But this topic is a lengthy topic. Land and building verification. In case of land and building, because it is land and building is an item of balance sheet. In case of land and building, auditor should verify the title deeds. If the company has in its balance sheet, they wrote land and building, so the verification, the first item of the verification is the title deed. When you are purchasing a land or building, so you are receiving a title deed. Title deed means the ownership, documents of the ownership of land and building. If the auditor is doubtful about it, then he may refer the matter to the solicitor of the company. Solicitor is basically the legal advisor of the company. So he will refer if he is doubtful about the title deeds. If the property is mortgaged, suppose you mortgaged this property, then he should take the certificate from the mortgagee to that effect. Then he will get a certificate from the person, from the mortgagee about this. To verify the value of cost price should be considered by the auditor. Now, for the verification of the cost of that land and building, it is important that he will keep the cost price in mind. To verify the value of land and building, for the verification of the value of land and building, he should consider the cost price, that at what price they purchased this asset. To know the original cost of the property, auditor should verify the deed of transfer. The deed of transfer means these are basically some legal documents when you are purchasing the land. So he will verify the deed of transfer. He will check the deed of transfer in which it is mentioned that we purchase this asset for this value. In case of building valuation, builders' receipts and depreciation should be considered. In valuating the value of building, valuation in building valuation, builders' receipt. Builders are the engineers who are making that building. They will give you a receipt that we spent this much money on this building. And depreciation should also be considered in verification of land and building. So depreciation, it should also be considered. Now, land and building is classified into two categories. One is called freehold land and building, and the other one it is called leasehold land and building. Freehold land and building is that building that you purchase and you have the legal documents of the purchase. And leasehold land and building is that building for which you are paying the lease. You took that land and building on lease. On lease means that you are handling, you can say there will be an owner of that building. There will be owner of that building, and your company took that building or land on lease. So this is the difference between leasehold land and building and freehold land and building. Now, freehold land and building. Auditor should verify the title deeds first of all. I told you about title deed, that the ownership documents. He should check that building is in the name of the client, that it is in the name of the company or not. Who is client? Client is basically the company. He should vouch. He should vouch the addition made during the year in the land and building are land. He will also check whether some addition is made to the land and building or not. Addition here means that new land and building it is purchased or not. If any land or building is sold during the year, auditor should vouch such sales. And out of the previous land and building, if some a piece of land or building it is sold, so he will also check this thing, that whether some land and building it is sold or not. He should also verify that profit or loss on such sale is recorded correctly or not. When land is sold or building is sold, so maybe there will be profit or loss on sale of land and building. So he will check that it is recorded properly or not. The sale on land and building, sorry, the profit on sale of land and building, whether it is properly recorded or not. He should also check the depreciation of the property, because if property is the title deed is with you, so you will also pay depreciation on that land and building. If it is the building of the company, if it is a building which is related to the company, so company will also charge depreciation on that building. So he will check whether they made proper uh, they recorded the depreciation of that land and building or not. Basically, in case of land, there is depletion. We call it depletion. And in case of building, there is depreciation. So he should also check the depreciation of the property, whether they recorded the depreciation of the property or not. Then the next thing is leasehold land and building. Auditor should verify the leasehold property by verifying the lease terms. How he will verify the leasehold property? He will check the contract of the lease or the terms of the lease. There will be a contract between the company and the owner. In that contract, each and everything will be specified. So auditor, first of all, he will check these terms and conditions. Auditor should note down the conditions of lease and check the property physically if possible. So he will check the conditions of the lease, and if possible, he will check the property personally. He should also verify the amount of debt received against the mortgage property and the duration period. Maybe sometime the company took a loan. Company has a building and they took a loan on that building. By keeping that building as a mortgage with the bank, auditor must verify the last receipt of the rent payment. He will also check the last payment of the rent, that is basically lease. In case of lease building repair, depreciation, etc., should be debited to the expense account or not. He will also check that lease building, if there is repair or depreciation, etc., we should charge it to the expense account properly or not. So in case of leasehold property, he will check all these things in detail. Investment verification. company made different types of investments, like shares, investment in shares, investment in bonds, debentures, different certificates, allotment letters, scrip. Scrip is basically a written document which acknowledge a debt, and government securities are included in investment. So he will check all these things. Auditor should verify the shares and debenture that these are made on the name of the clients. They will check that whether these shares and debentures, these are bought in the name of the company or not. He should examine all the securities with the investment register to know that these are in order. They will also check the order of all these securities and investments. Auditor must pay proper attention on the allocation between revenue and expenditure if the shares are purchased come dividend. So he will also give proper attention whether proper allocation is made between revenue and capital expenditure. And what is come dividend? It is basically a term you people will study it in the 8th semester. So here I can't explain it in detail. If these shares are newly issued, then auditor should examine the allotment letter and receipts payments. If new shares are issued, so he will check it with allotment letter. In case of certificates, auditor should check that these are made in the name of the client. If the company purchased some certificates, basically on these certificates, companies are receiving interests. So these are properly signed and sealed or not. And they will also check whether these are properly signed and sealed or not. Sealed means basically the the stamp of the company. Auditor should check that the investments have been correctly valued. They will also check that whether these are correctly valued or not. He should also vouch the interest and dividend on investment. And he will also check how much interest is received on these investments and how much dividend is received on these investments. So investment verification, basically if the company have extra cash, so the company is going to invest that cash in shares, purchasing shares of other companies, purchasing bonds. It can be debentures. Debenture is a type of bond. It can be purchasing some certificates. On these certificates, company will receive interest and different other things. So auditor will come and will check whether these are in the name of the company, these shares, bonds, certificates, whatever that is, government securities, these are in the name of the company or not. They will also check whether these are in proper order or not. These are recorded properly or not. And at the end, they will also check an additional thing, that is how much dividend is received. How much dividend is received on these investments and how much interest is received. He will also vouch this thing, that the company received how much interest and dividend on these investments. So investments, that is also part of the balance sheet. Verification of goodwill. Goodwill mean the reputation of the company. So basically, a reputation of the company, it will come if you will not record goodwill. Keep in mind, suppose you start your own business and you got a good name in the market, you will not write in your books of accounts in balance sheet. But when you are purchasing another business, then at that time you will record goodwill. Suppose Salam University. You are going to purchase Salam University. We calculate the value of all assets. That value of all assets, it is $500,000. And for remaining, the Salam University ownership, they are demanding total 15 lakh, total of 15 lakh. So 5 lakh is the value of their assets, and 1 million they are demanding for their reputation, goodwill. When you purchased an asset, when you purchased a business, and on that business you paid extra money for their goodwill, then you will record it in your balance sheet. So what is he saying? Goodwill is also asset of the company. When any firm or company purchase goodwill, is also included in the purchase. When any firm or company purchase goodwill, is also included in the purchase. Just like I told you that when you will purchase a business, then goodwill will also be included in that. To verify the value of goodwill, auditor has to examine the purchase agreement. That what is the purchase agreement? So here is the purchase agreement. 5 lakh is the value of assets, and 1 million, 10 lakh they are demanding for the goodwill. So we will check this. Auditor should find out from the purchase agreement that the amount of this asset is correct or not. So in the agreement, they will find this thing that they record this thing properly or not. Goodwill usually appear in the balance sheet at cost. Basically, it will appear in the balance sheet at cost. At what cost we purchased. So we will record it in the balance sheet at cost. That is 10 lakh in our example. There is no legal compulsion to write it. Now it is not must that you will write it in the balance sheet. There is no legal compulsion. It is not necessary. It is not must. If company likes to write off, then auditor should see that the amount written off is according to the revaluation of the resolution of the board. If company wants to write this thing, this 10 lakh in the books, then they will check. Write off means, suppose there is an asset. Its value is 1 lakh and its useful life is 20 years. So what will be its annual depreciation? 5,000. Now each year its value will be depreciated by 5,000. We call it writing off. We will reduce the value of this asset by 5,000. Similarly, in case of goodwill, we are also writing off the goodwill. So if company is going to write off the goodwill, then auditor will check that if company likes to write off, the auditor should see that the amount written off is according to the resolution of the board. There will be a meeting of the board of director and they will pass a resolution and they will write off this goodwill according to the resolution. Important point about goodwill is that it does not depreciate by use. Goodwill, good name, it is not going to depreciation by use. It will not depreciate with the passage of time, with use. I think for today it is enough. Inshallah, in the next week We'll take 2 small classes. In that, we will finish this course contents. I think for today it is enough. Have a good time. Assalamu alaikum.